6 weeks of failure. That was the reputation trailing Seaman Daniel Reyes. On the firing line, his shots sprayed wide, unworthy of a candidate. In the pool, he broke form at the 50-meter mark, thrashing just enough to make his classmates circle back, drag him in, and lose time. The platoon moved like a machine, Reyes the one loose part. Chief Petty Officer Harlan already had discharge papers waiting. Pelican Bay Naval Training Center had crushed men stronger than Reyes. 6 weeks into the SEAL pipeline, he was unraveling. Harlan had seen thousands pass through, some soared, some collapsed. Reyes looked destined for neither glory nor dignity. Harlan's voice cracked like a whip. Front and center, Daniel staggered forward, boots dripping on deck. His rucksack slipped, rifle hanging awkward, every movement screaming weakness. "You've failed the pop-up course 4 times, Harlan barked. "Scored 23 out of 40, missed your 150 to 300 windows. Your 25-meter zero drifts every session, top 5% on the ASVAB, and this is what we get. No excuse, sir. No excuse is right. Your PT is bottom of the class. Your team can't rely on you in the water. You are finished." Daniel's chest hammered harder than surf outside the bay. He had promised his mother he'd graduate, promised his sister he'd break the curse of a father lost at sea. Now, he was the platoon joke, the sailor who couldn't deliver. "I wanted to prove myself." "Sir," he whispered. "Want doesn't keep you alive." Harlan snapped. "Competence does, and you've shown me none." By noon, the verdict was final. "Reyes, report to the company office after chow. Gear packed." He sat in the galley, tray untouched. How could he face his mother when the Navy was done with him? How could he explain to his sister he failed before even beginning Reyes? He looked up. A man in salt-faded fatigue stood over his table. No insignia, no name. Eyes steady as the deep. "On your feet." The man turned and walked away without waiting, against every instinct screaming to stay seated. Daniel pushed back his chair and followed. He wore fatigues stripped of insignia. No patch, no name tape, yet his presence filled the hall like a storm rolling in. "You're Reyes." His voice was low, steady. "Absolute. Yes, sir. I'm Commander Elias Ward. Some call me Phantom Diver. You're coming with me, around them." The room froze. Not even Harlan's bark had ever silenced recruits this completely. Every gaze locked on trays, no one daring to look up. Reyes rose, boots striking tile like a countdown, and followed the man everyone whispered about. They crossed the training grounds, past the pool where Reyes had staged his panic, past fences he'd never been cleared to see. Guards scanned credentials that didn't exist in any official system. Gates opened anyway. The building looked like a library from the outside. Inside, something else, walls lined with sealed folders, grainy photographs under glass, maps inked in black. Ward gestured to a chair. "Sit. Reyes, sir. I'd rather that wasn't a request." Daniel sat, spine rigid. Ward studied him like a diver watching a riptide silent. Calculating. "Tell me about your background. It's in my file." "Sir, I've read your file. I want to hear it from you." Daniel recited the safe version, small-town kid, varsity swimmer, summers on the docks. Ward opened a folder. "Interesting. Not in your Navy file, but I found it buried in local news clippings and competition archives." His voice cut through. 2018 State Freediving Championship, 6 minutes, 12 seconds on a single breath. First place. 2019 Regional Lifeguard Challenge, rescued 3 men in storm surf when every other contestant withdrew. Official reports called it reckless. I call it instinct. Reyes's throat tightened. Those moments had been his secret, never mentioned to recruiters. "You walk into Pelican Bay with waterman credentials most operators would envy," Ward said. And then you choke on drown-proofing. You flail at 50 meters. You drag your team down. Daniel tried to speak. Sir, that's not failure. Ward cut in. That's sabotage. Deliberate. The word hit like a depth charge. His mask of weakness shattered under Ward's gaze. For the first time since arriving, he wasn't dismissed as useless. He was cornered. Exposed. Why, Ward asked, voice relentless. Why are you hiding what you are? The question hung in the room like lungs starving for air. Daniel knew his next words could drown him, or pull him into something far deeper. Sir, why would I deliberately fail? Daniel Reyes's voice cracked, words heavy as if water still filled his lungs. Ward didn't blink. That's exactly what I intend to find out. He pulled a folder from his desk. The cover stamped in bold red, classified, eyes only. There are operations, he said, voice even, that demand skills Blackthorn can't measure. Missions where one mistake never makes the news but changes the world anyway. Missions that live outside doctrine. He spread the folder open. Blurred photographs, after-action reports slashed with red ink, maps with whole sections blacked out, divers in rebreathers ghosted through wreckage, figures in blackout gear slipped into surf under moonlight. Ward's eyes fixed on him. We've been watching you since day one, not your staged panic, not the coughing fits. We saw you when you thought no one noticed the way you cleared a snorkel with perfect technique, the way your body cut water when you stopped thrashing for show. You've been hiding. Daniel's chest tightened. He thought he had been subtle. He hadn't. Why, Ward asked simply. Daniel stared at his hands until his knuckles whitened. Permission to speak freely. Sir, granted. I came here to serve. But after the first week, I realized what they were teaching us. It wasn't survival. It was how to weaponize lungs, breath, fear. And I discovered something that terrified me. Ward leaned forward. Say it. I'm very, very good at not dying underwater, Daniel said, locking eyes with him. Too good. I don't fear drowning. I don't fear the dark. And that scared me more than failing. Ward didn't flinch. In civilian contests, you were holding your breath for trophies, static pools, cheering crowds. But here it's lives on the line, ended or saved in silence, and it didn't bother you. Daniel's throat burned. It bothered me that it didn't bother me. Ward closed the folder with a snap. That's exactly why we need you. There are missions where your precision saves American lives, missions that prevent wars before they're even born. He slid an envelope across the desk, sealed with crimson wax. Your current training is terminated. You have new orders. Daniel broke the seal. The words inside seemed to hum with weight. Classified orders. Special Operations Training Command. Seaman Daniel Reyes immediate reassignment. Report Obsidian Depths Program. Sector 9. Gear modified combat loadout. Live ammunition authorized. Authorization Commander Elias Ward. Special projects. He looked up. Hands steadier than they'd been in 6 weeks. Sir, what is this? Ward's eyes cut like a diver's knife. It's your chance to stop pretending you're less than you are. Or you can walk away tomorrow, stamped a failure, and spend the rest of your life wondering what you might have become. The envelope weighed like steel in his palm. Daniel knew he wasn't just holding orders. He was holding the choice between damnation or transformation. Sir, will this training prepare me for combat? Daniel asked, clutching the sealed orders as though they might dissolve. Ward's reply was immediate. What you're about to face makes combat look like recreation. When it's over, you won't just fight wars, you'll prevent them. Missions no one will ever know happened. Wars ended before they began. The words hit harder than a breaking wave. For 6 weeks he'd hidden his edge. Now the truth pulled him under. demanding he either drown or rise as something else entirely. "How do you know I won't fail this too?" His voice was raw. Ward extended his hand. Scars mapped across his knuckles like a diver's chart. "Because this time failure isn't an option, and I've already seen what you can do when you think no one is watching." Daniel shook his hand. It felt like clasping iron shaped by pressure. "One question, sir. How long have you been watching me since the day you enlisted? Your records flagged the system. We waited to see if your mind matched your lungs, and you proved it not by succeeding, but by failing with intent. That fear of yourself. That's exactly what makes you ready." Ward walked him to the exit. "This training will uncover abilities you don't know exist. It will push you past limits you thought absolute, and it will prepare you for operations that will never appear in any record." "Yes, sir." More importantly, Ward added, voice lowering, "it will teach you how to wield those abilities without losing your humanity. Report to Obsidian Range Sector 9 in 1 hour. Modified combat loadout. Every weapon you've been issued." As Daniel stepped into the corridor, Ward's last words followed like a current, and Reyes, stop pretending to be less than you are. Your country needs who you really are, for the first time since Pelican Bay. Daniel felt something other than fear. He felt purpose anchoring him steady. An hour later, he stood before a plain concrete bunker near the docks. From the outside, it looked like a forgotten warehouse. Inside was another world. Training lanes plunged into black tanks rigged with underwater lights. Targets floated at depths of 30, 60, 90 feet. Holographic currents and sonar pings filled the water. Operators moved like shadows, too sharp, too silent to be ordinary sailors. Reyes, a woman's voice cut through. He turned. A tall figure approached, authority radiating without insignia. "I'm Lieutenant Mara Quinn, your primary instructor, ma'am." "Should I stand at attention?" Daniel asked automatically. Quinn's smile was faint, edged. "You're not in basic anymore. Here, we don't measure protocol, only performance." She led him to a weapons rack, rifles modified for maritime ops, rebreathers, demolition kits. "Commander Ward says you've been hiding. Today. We find out why." Hours bent into exhaustion. Blackout tunnels. Rope entanglement drills with lungs burning. Rescue sims where dummies sank like real men. Daniel's heart slowed. His breathing steadied. Where others flailed, he flowed. He surfaced with victims while alarms screamed. He fired underwater carbines with surgical precision. But Quinn pressed further moral choice drills, save the diver, thrashing in panic. Or complete the objective, protect a civilian target. Or eliminate the hostile before he struck. Each choice clawed at him. Yet his answers came instinctive, balanced, precise, controlled. At last, Quinn lowered her stopwatch, expression unreadable. "Ward was right about you." Salt stung his eyes as he asked, "Ma'am, what happens now?" Her tone hardened like pressure in the deep. "Now we stop testing your talent, and we forge it into something far more dangerous." Her words hung in the water between them, promising that what came next would push him beyond even this. For 6 weeks, Daniel Reyes had been the pipeline's failure. Tonight, he stood in a place built for ghosts. "Lieutenant Quinn," he asked quietly, "how many people know this program even exists?" Quinn paused while locking a weapon rack. "As few as possible. The operators forged here don't appear on rosters. Their victories prevent wars, and no one ever thanks them for it." Her gaze carried both pride and sorrow. The greatest missions are the ones no one realizes had to happen. The greatest victories are the ones where the world never even knew a battle was fought. They walked the silent corridors of Sector 9, behind reinforced glass. Daniel saw environments designed to break human limits, a flooded chamber simulating a collapsed submarine, an urban module where water lines rose floor by floor, a current tank that mimicked riptides. Each scenario demanded choices as sharp as a blade. "In here," Quinn said, "we don't just teach you to shoot or swim. We teach you to make impossible calls under impossible pressure without becoming what you fear." Daniel pressed his hand to the glass. Watching another trainee drag 2 hostages through black water while suppressing a hostile target. The man moved with quiet precision, part soldier, part shadow. "How long does this training last?" Daniel asked. "As long as it takes. Some break through in months, others need years. A rare few are ready in weeks. And if someone never reaches operational status..." Her expression hardened. "Then they disappear into new names, new lives, where their partial training still serves in silence. Everyone contributes, just not always how they imagined." They passed the medical bay where combat divers practiced underwater trauma care, and the comms lab where recruits ran encrypted signals beneath static. Finally, Quinn stopped at a darkened chamber. Its door bore no label, only a symbol of a raven carved into steel. "This," she said, "is where doctrine ends. Here we create something else entirely, operators who can vanish into any current, surface anywhere, strike without leaving ripples, silent sentinels beneath the tide." That evening in his quarters, Daniel sat with the sealed orders that had rewritten his fate. 6 weeks ago he had been terrified of what his lungs, his instincts, revealed about him. Tonight, he understood that fear had been wisdom warning him he would need balance as much as precision. Now he was ready. Ready to embrace the silence between nations, the whispers before conflict, the unseen work that protects lives without recognition. Some failures, he realized, were only disguises for greater victories, and some orders changed everything. Within weeks, Daniel Reyes would move in places most sailors never dreamed, completing missions that would never appear in any official report. He would not be remembered in parades. His name would never echo from monuments. But he would become exactly what he was meant to be, not a failed recruit, but a guardian forged in shadows, protecting his country with precision, intelligence, and the kind of quiet courage that shapes history without ever asking for recognition.